I didn't know there was this many Godzilla movies. Okay, I just wanted to talk about.
When I could go home.
There's like 30 films.
Stay alive out here searching such a long time.
So my friend Tino is going to be helping us out. He's a huge Godzilla fan, and he's a bodybuilder from southeast Michigan. Tino, you got us? You on the horn there?
Yeah, I hear his muscles.
What's up, Tino? So yeah, maybe we could start by talking about your feelings on the new Godzilla movie. What did you think of? What did you think of it?
I don't know. I liked it, but I think it was a lot better than the Matthew Broderick '97 Godzilla movie.
It seems like what everybody immediately starts comparing it to is that awful Roland Emmerich movie, but for true Godzilla fans like you and myself, we understand the gigantic inventory of Godzilla movies that we're really holding it to. So my hopes were that it would touch more on, the mythology that had been established in Japan.
Yeah, the origin story, that's the weird thing. The awful American version from '97 is a little more accurate with like its origin story. In the previous movies, he was more of a dinosaur that was mutated. In this, he's more of a lizard that's mutated. But now in the new one, they do a whole new origin, but I feel like he's represented a lot more like Godzilla overall, though.
And when it comes to the effects and stuff, it looks better now than it did when, obviously when the '97 movie came out. At the same time, I still feel like the practical stuff that has been through decades of evolution reached like an amazing crescendo in the more recent Godzilla efforts in Japan. And I was wondering your thoughts on this. Like, do you think Japan will continue to make their own version of Godzilla, or do you think they have all their stakes in this new franchise? Because I know they're doing a follow-up, right?
Yeah, it's almost, I think it's been confirmed. I know that they were talking about it. I have a feeling the follow-up will probably include one of his monsters from his previous forms, like a Micah Godzilla.
Right, or I think Mothra was hinted at in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing about the Japanese ones too is that like they're always kind of stupid, and they always have like a I don't know. There's a quality about them that makes you not care as much about the quality of it. Where you can just sort of dive in, and maybe it's just like a hey buddy, maybe it's just like a childhood affinity for the franchise and how it's like those movies touch a certain chord from Japan that the American ones will never quite achieve, It's like something about them not being afraid to be really stupid and over the top that I really love. Or maybe that's just inherently part of that style. It's like, the Eastern way of telling stories or telling these particular stories.
Yeah, they're serious, but they're so ridiculous and over the top. But they keep them serious, which I like, because they're not afraid to keep it serious, but in a ridiculous situation.
Can you tell us who you are? We are the cosmos, my friends.
Could you explain?
Earth's cosmos. The two of us keep the world's natural order of things in balance. Over 12,000 years ago, there was a guardian of the Earth named Mothra. At that time, there was an advanced civilization on Earth, and the cosmos was in perfect order. But then, something terrible happened. Scientists created a device to control Earth's climate. This device greatly offended the Earth. Offended? The Earth is a living being. It can also be offended.
Super ridiculous and corny, but they're kind of serious in a way, which I like.
Yeah, it's a good balance of like, it's kind of like why I love B movies and bad movies. There's a certain quality to those things that I get excited about, and when I love finding that balance of like, this is garbage, but they're doing it well, you know. Some of my most favorite movies are B movies, and I think you thought you kind of have a similar taste.
A lot of it has to go back to being a kid. I think seeing the original Showa series, which is the original from 55 to 75, I think. I grew up on that whole series. It just brings back childhood memories. I always just loved the man in the rubber suit look. I just kind of liked that, opposed to, I just like practical effects essentially. And I always liked Harryhausen. I like stop motion animation, but I've always also loved just like animatronics or even a guy in a suit. That's why I've loved like The Howling and stuff like that. You know, those kind of horror movies that have like Alien, the early ones. Godzilla, I don't know. It's just the idea of being a kid, you know, loving a monster in a big rubber suit destroying a whole town. When you're a kid, you know, just the idea of thinking of being this big, powerful thing running around destroying a town was just awesome.
That's Gabra, huh?
Yeah. Isn't he scary?
Do you ever fight?
Guy, no. I'm chicken.
And as time went on, like, I kind of felt like, I don't know, I kind of lost touch with Godzilla for a while because, you know, when we were kids, I'm assuming you had the same situation. All we knew of were like the 60s Godzillas and the 70s movies, and they kind of disappeared. My love came back for it like later in life when I saw on TV they were playing something from the Heisei series, which is from 85 till 95. And that's when like they had Godzilla 1985, where they reintroduced Raymond Burr. I think I was still young. That one I knew existed, but when I saw like Godzilla vs. Biollante and stuff like that, and the new Mecha Godzilla, I was blown away. I didn't know they kept making movies. I thought they were all from the 70s, you know?
Right. I was the same way. It was all of a sudden there was like this whole bunch of Godzilla movies, and they looked awesome.
Yeah, and I assumed that the Godzilla like 1985 was the first one they had that was like newer from the 80s, and they just made that. I did not realize there was a direct sequel, Biollante, then they had Mecha Godzilla again, and they had Mothra, all of them come back, you know?
It's a run of what, 8? Is it 8 films that are kind of part of that series? Because it ends with Destroyer, right?
Destroyer is the last one, 1995, and that's how they that's how Godzilla dies, essentially.
Micah, would you want to pretend that we're giant monsters in a monster movie?
I guess we'll do that.
Okay, good work.
Okay.
Okay. We did it.
Oh.
We did it!
Yeah, we did it!